Welcome to another episode of Metal Roofing University. I'm your host, Adam Clark, and my co-host, as always, Mason Burchett?
Mason Burchett? I've been called worse. But yeah, my name is still Mason Burchett. Thanks for remembering.
This is Metal Roofing University with Adam and Mason.
So we're going to jump into kind of a unique product in the metal roofing world. I think a lot of people, when they begin their journey for a metal roof solution, they often think about the ag panel or the R panel or 5E or standing seam. There are some roofing systems that are maybe more common and more well-known in our industry, but today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different.
Yeah, and we've talked about metal shingles in past episodes and some of the less traditional looking options. As far as, when people think about metal roofing, they think of long vertical panels. And we talked about some of those metal shingles and how that works. Well, this product we're going to talk about today is really like the hybrid of the non-traditional metal look, but the traditional metal install.
Yeah, and I think the episode on the metal shingles is really cool because I think that's very abstract to most people out there. I think a lot of people don't realize there are shingles that look like asphalt shingles, or metal shingles that look like asphalt shingles or slate shingles. But with the system that we're going to be talking about today, you get this tile look, but you get the ease and the simplicity of a long linear panel that utilizes a through fastening system.
Yeah, so this panel is creatively called Stile, S-T-I-L-E, which is a mesh of the word Spanish and tile. So it's a vertical metal panel that mimics the look of a clay Spanish tile style roof.
Yeah, we'll talk about why this system is becoming so popular. We'll talk about why Best Buy Metals made the investment in the equipment in the first place, and really try to promote this as a system that gives you just another great alternative to more traditional systems that have faults and failures that metal helps overcome.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the advantages and what comparisons should look like when you're talking about this product. So people are used to comparing what does metal roof cost compared to shingles, but that's not necessarily the accurate comparison when we're talking about performance or even cost with a panel of this style. This panel style is going to be for houses that, like we said previously, are traditionally going to use something that's in a Spanish style, like a clay tile or a concrete tile, or some kind of barrel-shaped tile. And when you're talking about performance differences between these two systems, it's astronomically different. Metal roofing is known for its durability while maintaining its lightweight. And when you're talking about some of the heaviest roofing systems out there, these clay tiles and these concrete tiles certainly rank high up there.
Yeah, so anybody who really likes the look of a clay tile, whether that's on a coastal home or not, I mean, we're in Tennessee and we know that there are these Spanish-style roofs that are being installed very regularly.
In lake homes, boat docks.
But if you go from a traditional roofing system, let's say an asphalt shingle, and you decide that you want to upgrade to a tile, well, guess what? These real clay and real cement tile systems will force you to beef up your roof and other parts of your home as well. And that's one of the biggest advantages that you get with the metal style panel that we're talking about here is you're talking about weight that is sometimes an eighth or a tenth that of the traditional clay and cement and ceramic tiles that are out there.
Right. So the amount of wear and tear that's going on the actual framing of your roof is significantly less with this metal roofing option that we're talking about as compared to a clay or a Spanish tile. Actually, I recently moved with my neighbor where I moved from. His house had the old concrete barrel tiles on it, and those things were heavy. I mean, I had never worked with them before, but they were heavy and brittle. I mean, talk about, you drop one from, chest length down to the ground, and it'll crack. It'll break.
Yeah, chest length to the ground or roof height to the ground. You know, and I think that's one of the things that we like to talk about anytime we're talking about metal roofing is the flexibility and the malleability of the steel products that we work with really does allow us to avoid some of the breakdown during handling, during installation, and even during the settling of a new construction. Like this does happen over time. If you build a new home, you're eventually going to have, whether it be a month or a year or a couple of years, you're eventually going to have the home start to settle and shift and move. Well, your roof feels that just as much as any other part of the system does, or of the structure does, and you'll definitely see that you're running into times almost immediately after the home is built and a clay tile or a cement tile is installed, that you're having to do replacements and repairs. And that's a bummer, right? A couple of years into having a new home, having to deal with that. And this system really does protect against those cracks and the breakdown of the roofing components.
Right. So when you think of what we tout with our flagship products like Tough Rib or Titan Lock Standing Seam, the things we talk about is the longevity of the roof, the durability of the roof, the energy efficiency of the roof.
The low maintenance.
The low maintenance. Those are all things that you're still getting. This is a traditional metal roof. It just is, it looks different.
Yeah.
But really, and you'll talk a little bit about it here in a second, is even the installation is very similar to traditional metal roof installation.
We'll talk. I've got a couple more characteristics about this system that are unique to metal that you can't capture. It's difficult to capture with some of the more traditional systems. Energy efficiency is something that it's important to everybody right now. I mean, you see it on everything, roofing for sure, but windows, appliances, you're starting to see energy efficiency and the tax rebates and the energy savings that come back from energy efficient parts of your home being a significant desire for homeowners. I mean, we see that every day in our showrooms when customers come in and ask about the reflectivity. What will black roofing do compared to white roofing? Well, we have Energy Star certification for all of the colors on the Stile system. You can't get that with real clay. You can't get that with cement tiles. The other thing we really like to talk about, we talked about the system being flexible and malleable. Well, it's designed to be installed in the worst climates, tropical conditions. It's Miami-Dade approved, so it's been tested to the most extreme levels that any roofing system will be exposed to, and it's passed and surpassed all of the expectations to meet the very, very strict Miami-Dade building codes.
Yeah, and when we talk about Miami-Dade, we're talking about hurricane zones, right? Hurricane force winds that these are able to withstand. And another thing, when we're talking about this compared to a traditional barrel tile like a cement tile or a clay tile, is if you've ever seen one of those clay tiles, it's a single, it's a small little barrel. Like you think about the barrel shape of the roof, and it's an individual tile, right? That you're overlaying one on the other, and as opposed to this metal roofing option we're talking about is one continuous panel, right? So you're having a lot more structural integrity spread across a greater surface area of the roof.
Right, and less seams, right? Less areas that could fail. So, we can make these panels as long as 24 feet long. And I understand there are some roofs that have longer runs than that, and there are ways to overcome the longer runs. But if you have a drop of water that starts up at the top of a 24-foot run and it has to go over 24 or 20 different seams, with the traditional systems versus going over a continuous panel with no seams, there does seem to be an advantage and a lower likelihood of problems, especially over the life of the roofing system as it shifts and moves and has exposure to the elements.
Right. So, I mean, it just seems logical. The less seams you've got, the less entry points there are for water to get to the underneath the roof. Yeah. Yeah.
And some people will say, well, what about the screws? And that's a very valid point. This is a through fastened system, and Mason and I are not we don't try to hide behind the through fasteners. We are advocates and champions of the through fastened system. You guys have heard us say that before, and this is no exception. We believe that the ease of application is one huge advantage that you get with the Stile roofing system. But the reality is the technology is also there. We use number 14 oversized long life screws that have a double washer assembly that sits underneath the cap or the head of the screw that creates a degree of confidence that the system, even though it has through fasteners, is not going to leak in those areas.
Yeah, I mean, look at some of the blog posts in the previous episodes where we've talked about these long life fasteners, and that multi-seal washer is seriously a game changer when you're talking about longevity of through fasten systems, especially on unique style panels like the Spanish tile style that we're talking about right now, where you've got that kind of rounded valley in between those barrel ribs. This multi-seal washer, it's not just sealing at a single flat point. It actually compresses, and it can seal on a slight radius like that. It can seal if the screw comes in at a little bit of an angle, and it is totally a game changer.
So today we spent some time with one of our old installers. We don't do installation anymore, but we still have a gentleman on our crew, on our team here, who is very familiar with the installation of metal roofs and even the installation of the Stile system. So we set up a sample deck, and we'll have some videos to release of that install where we kind of walk and talk through the installation process. But it was really clear to me today as we were looking at that, this system has a lot of safeguards to protect the roof against any type of leaking. We talked about the ridge and eave foam closures, and many of you have seen those. I think Mason's even done some videos on the foam closures for our tough rib for our agricultural panels. There's actually a unique hip and valley closure that was strategically designed and made for us by our friends at Marco Industries, and that's going to allow you to actually account for the varying gaps of the hips and the valleys of the panels along the hips and valleys of the roof. There's different membranes that can be used along with the system. There's unique valley flashings that are used along with the system. So I think that was one of the things that really stood out to me today, Mason, is really understanding that this is a unique system. There are some possible susceptibilities to leaking, but it really felt like it was all those concerns or those potential concerns were comprehensively covered, whether it be with the screws or the closures or the ice and water shield. And I think that really gave me a sense of confidence that this is a system that can be installed in any application. Again, Miami-Dade approved. And I think that's something that will be really interesting to showcase in the video that we release a little bit later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that stood out to me was, wow, that was fast. And especially when you're comparing it to single individual tiles, that's a very time-consuming product, and it takes a highly skilled person to put that on correctly. Very time-consuming to cover an entire roof. And think about like hotels and larger commercial projects that are using Spanish-style roofing like this. Very long time, which just means that your labor cost is increased significantly. These are linear panels, like you said, and they're nearly 39.5 inches of coverage. And so you're talking about, I mean, I don't have the actual numbers, but you're talking about cutting labor install time down.
Right. If you have a 20-foot panel, you're covering over 60 square feet in just a couple of minutes, especially as you get that first panel square and you're able to follow the starter course or the starter cleat that's on there. The installation of this, I've never installed the traditional clay tile system, but I can imagine that the time difference has got to be significant.
You would have to have a lot more people to get it done in the same time frame, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So just another way that metal roof, and this is true of any metal roofing panel, and this is another advantage of linear panels is they install very, very quickly, whereas shingles, tiles, things like that certainly take a little bit longer.
Yeah, and you mentioned application on hotels or other commercial buildings. That's another characteristic of this product is that it looks really good on homes and looks really good on lake houses and coastal homes. But there's even a hotel in Asheville, North Carolina, next to one of our facilities that has a blue Spanish clay style roof on there. And that's really cool to see that and to see that application. We're able to make commercial gutters and downspouts, and we've got the coil here. It's a part that we make in-house, so we're really able to make it complement even a commercial application where you may have to account for longer panels and more water and maybe even a little more decorative trim that needs to go along with the piece to kind of finish it up and make it presentable for commercial application. But that's totally acceptable, and we see it happening almost anywhere where this product can be sold.
So we've looked at durability and performance. We've talked about a little bit about aesthetics versus its counterpart. What kind of life expectancy should somebody get out of a Spanish style metal roof?
Yeah, I mean, so it's we partner with domestic steel partners, so the coils that we have to make this product are United States steel.
Sure.
They're domestic steel. They're coated. Actually, this one was coated up in Indiana. The coils we have in the warehouse right now were coated in Indiana. The steel is going to last forever, honestly, and the coating is a PVDF system. Again, we talked about that in our last system, so we don't want to get too distracted by that. But it is a great premium system that's designed to last a lifetime, and we actually carry a 45-year warranty on the paint, on the way that the system looks. Its functionality is going to last forever. Outside of an act of God, outside of the extreme testing that's been done for the Miami-Dade approval, it's going to last forever.
Right. So again, you're getting the exact same performance you would expect out of any traditional metal roofing system, with this great look of Spanish style metal roofing system. I encourage you, if you haven't seen this and you're trying to visualize what we're talking about, go check it out. Most of the other products like this, Adam, on the market are a stone coated system or a textured system of some kind. This is a unique product because it still has that semi-gloss paint system on it, right?
Yep. Yeah, and the stone-coated systems are great.
Sure.
We actually partner with a lot of the suppliers of the stone-coated systems as well, but there is something that's a little more appealing. Again, the energy efficiency you get from a painted system versus a stone-coated system is there, but there's also this aesthetic look. It does look a little more realistic. It does look a little more like a clay tile with a little bit of glossiness to it, as opposed to a stone-coated system that's perfectly matte. So we do see that. We also see the stone-coated systems, even though they're very good, they do have the tendency to break down, especially during installation. You can have stone granules that are falling off, and that's not the same. You don't run into the same type of circumstance here with the Spanish style roofing.
Yeah, and talking about the semi-gloss paint system, the PVDF system that's being used here, another advantage you're going to get with this is a selection of colors, and that's not something that's as easily accessible with a clay tile or Spanish tile. You can get very vibrant colors with a metal roof with this unique look you could not get with its counterpart.
Well, yeah, the hotel that we saw there in Asheville had ocean blue on
Right.
it. It's kind of it's not a bright blue, but it's kind of like a regal blue, right? And then we've got classic green that's available.
Sure.
We've got some of the more traditional colors like Spanish clay and regal red are certainly our most popular options, but there's even a Tudor brown and a slate gray that are available, and that's something that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think that's always something that we have to remember, is that what looks good to one may not look good to another. And with traditional systems, it is a little bit harder to have the diversity of color and the options to choose from. And we're thankful to have the color options that we do have for the style system here at Best Buy Metals.
Yeah. So again, take a minute and check this product out. You can go to our website, bestbuymetals.com, and click on the metal tile section and then find style. You can also go to SpanishRoofing.com, which will link you straight to that page. So SpanishRoofing.com will get you there. And we have got the brochures, the warranty information. We have a full install guide on the website for this, Adam. And we like you said, we recorded an install video today that we're about to publish out. So I'll link that into the show notes so you guys can see what this looks like, how quickly it installs. This is not a system to be intimidated by.
Right.
This is a traditional metal roofing system that's hiding behind a Spanish style.
Yeah.
And so do check it out, SpanishRoofing.com, or go to BestBuyMetals.com and take a look at this.
Yeah, and one more thing that I'll say, and we have a national sales team that sells materials all over the country. If you're outside of the country, if this is a product that you want to export, another advantage that we didn't talk about is because it's a through fasten system, and the panels are kind of uniform across the entire panel. They actually cup together really, really well. We export this product everywhere.
Right.
And so that's something to consider if you're talking about shipping or if you're talking about exporting. That's another advantage that you get with this system. Like, you can have a whole 40 square roof system in one pallet,
Right.
in one
4 or 5
crate.
inch stack. Right. Yeah.
So we know that shipping right now is obviously, something that's difficult, both over the road and by sea. So if you wanted to get the best bang for your buck from a shipping standpoint, this would also be a great alternative.
Cool. So again, bestbuymetals.com. Check it out. This is called Stile, Stile. Very stylish looking roof.
Nice.
I mean, it was inevitable that we had to have a joke about it in there. But Stile, Spanish Tile. Check it out, bestbuymetals.com. Also, if you want to check out more resources about educational content regarding this kind of system and a lot of other metal roofing systems, go over to metalroofingu.com and see some of the work we're doing there. And do us a favor and click subscribe if you enjoy listening to the podcast. Thanks, guys.